am Jen Newman. I'm the board chair, and I'm honored to be with all of you today as we celebrate those accomplishments and we announce our grantees, the ones who do the work, the ones who uplift Iowa's women and girls and ensure they reach their potential. This is why we're here, right? The work of a women's fund is difficult, but so effective. The work of a women's fund is to understand and analyze the problems, then use our collective strength to change those outcomes. It sounds simple, but it is hard work. But none of us are here to rest on our laurels. It's not what we do. We're here for the work. We're positioned to lead. I know, and we collectively know, that you all have things to do and places to be, but you chose to be with us here today because you too are here for the work. That is part of leadership. I've been on this board for 6 years now, with the past 2 as board chair, and we've seen so much change. The pandemic changed not only how we work, but it set back some of our work in childcare, and we had to pivot fast to support the childcare industry and not lose the momentum we had gained in shattering that barrier. It changed how we work as a board. It changed how people thought about and gave to our cause, mostly in good ways. And it definitely changed how we held events. And it just makes me so happy to be here with you in this room again. It is truly one of my favorite things. We've also been through a leadership change from Dawn to Deanne, so at least we kept it with a D for you guys, right? And it has been my pleasure to work alongside Deanne Cook for the past 9 months and see how her brain ticks and see what she sees as our biggest challenges and our biggest opportunities. We are growing this organization in new directions. We're setting up our infrastructure. That's always such a sexy word, right? Infrastructure. We're setting up that infrastructure for the long haul to ensure that the Iowa Women's Foundation is always here to support Iowa's women and girls. And I could not be prouder of the work that we are doing and the change we are making. And I'm not the only one. Last week, we received news that one of our biggest donors has significantly increased their support because they believe in the work we do. They stated specifically that they believe in the direction that Iowa Women's Foundation and Deanne are going, and they are here to support and grow that work and to take the organization to a place of long-term sustainability. The work of a women's fund is hard, and to be frank, it can be a bit tedious sometimes. It's data-driven, and it's not always the easiest to sell in some audiences. But the confidence that our supporters have in the work that we do is what inspires all of us to push farther, to ensure this organization is built on a solid foundation and that it is here for good. This is not the PTA. PTAs are very valuable, very important, but this is different. We didn't sign up to stuff backpacks here, right? We signed up to roll up our sleeves and drive change through policy, targeted giving, and understanding the challenges that Iowa's women and girls face. And that's what we are here to celebrate today. We've seen the results of our work, and so have our supporters. Our supporters continue to give, sometimes before we can even ask them, because they know that an investment in the Iowa Women's Foundation actually changes lives in our state. I'm not personally sitting on giant piles of money myself. When I give, I want it to matter, and I want it to make a difference. And right now, we are doing the work that matters. We in this room collectively are doing the work that really matters. I believe that the supporters of the Iowa Women's Foundation are the most savvy investors. We study, we do our homework, and we get focused on very specific levers, specifically our 6 barriers. And we work with the people and organizations who have the ability to carry out the change that needs to happen. Again, I could not be prouder. So I'm excited to be here today. I'm excited to hear from Ambassador Kramer, and I know that you will enjoy her talk as well. She knows firsthand the challenges that women and girls face as they pursue their careers and economic success. She knows that it is often that self-doubt that can hold back success, and she knows how to get past it. I can't wait, Ambassador, to hear what you have to say. But right now, I want to congratulate you. And this is going to be weird, by the way. Just going to preface this with, this is going to be weird for a second. I want you to turn to the person on your right or left, maybe both, and I want you to say, congratulations, job well done. And I'll wait while you do it. Great. Great job. I like how everybody just reverts back to talking about everything that they've got on their mind. So I am going to turn this back. I'm going to let you eat your lunch, basically, which is, I think, being served as we speak. But before I do, I want to leave you with a tip and a warning. Okay. So the first tip is that we have a really cool door prize today, if you saw it when you came in. So there's a QR code on your table, let's hope the Wi-Fi holds up and the signals, that you can use to register for it. And do it now because you do not want to miss out on what we're calling the ultimate Iowa City staycation experience. So make sure that you sign up for that door prize, which will be announced later on today. And now the warning. So I don't know if you saw this in the news today, but at 1:20 today, all of our phones are basically going to go into play a very loud alert. And even though we all know it's coming, it's going to scare the bejesus out of many of us, right? So when you hear that sound today, I want that to be a trigger to remind yourself, did I give to the Iowa Women's Foundation today? So thank you, everyone. Please enjoy your lunch, and we'll be back shortly. And we are back. This is the moment we've all been waiting for, right? And I welcome our virtual attendees as well, who we all got to be greeted by the Women in Business students who are here with us today. Let's actually give them a quick round of applause. And Deanne I'm not sure she had sat down yet. She was out greeting everybody and making her way to all the tables. So to those of you who are able to attend virtually, we are so glad you're here, and we're glad you're joining us. As I mentioned to some of you earlier today, this is a little bittersweet for me. It's the last time I get to stand here and announce our grantees and tell their stories as board chair. These organizations are positioned to lead. Alongside the Iowa Women's Foundation, they do the work. They eliminate barriers. They help Iowa's women and girls succeed, and I am honored to be here with them today. And first of all, I'd like to invite Barb Baker up. Barb is the chair of our grants committee, and probably stuck on her chair there. All right. So you guys, Barb wrangles all the cats. That's what Barb does. Chief Cat Wrangler and Grants Committee Chair. So I'd also like to recognize the Grants Committee and the Community Review panelists. So if you have been a part of that process, would you please stand at this time and be recognized? Don't be shy. I know we're in Iowa. I also am not going to make the Iowa Women's Foundation staff stand because that's all they've been doing. So I also would love a round of applause for the hardworking staff of the Iowa Women's Foundation. So as I said, Barb wrangles the cats and makes this a smooth and successful process, and we couldn't do it without her. And we are really looking forward to our grant awards event in January as well, at which time these organizations will actually receive the funding for these programs. But today, Barb will be gifting each of the leaders of our grantee partner organizations an assortment of Iowa-made treats for them to share with their teams at home. It's a small way for us to say thank you for the work that they do, and we are grateful that they are here to join us today. So thank you. And Barb, are we doing this? We're doing this. Okay. All right. So we're going to line up our grantees. And we are going to start with House of Hope in Waterloo. House of Hope, come on, this side. Okay. House of Hope provides single mothers in or facing homelessness and women ages 18 to 24 who have spent time in out-of-home placement with transitional and temporary housing and access to resources to achieve secure families and permanent homes. IWF grant funds will support the Total Transportation Program, which addresses transportation barriers that limit employment opportunities for many women. The program educates women on car buying and ownership. Can I get some of that? Because that is a miserable experience, honestly. From financial mentorship to auto maintenance and repairs. The Driving Hope program, in partnership with local banks, provides women access to a short-term, low-interest loan of up to $5,000 that can be used to purchase an affordable and reliable vehicle. And they provide bus passes and gas cards to program participants. So thank you, House of Hope. All right. Okay. Next up is Dorothy's House in Des Moines. Dorothy's House provides a safe place for the practice of life for those whose lives have been interrupted by human trafficking, exploitation, and prostitution. IWF grants will support expanded services for survivors of trafficking and exploitation. Dorothy's House will change the historically negative experience that survivors have by training law enforcement agencies, offering supportive crisis response during law enforcement activities, and providing up to 72 hours of crisis care. By shifting responsibility to perpetrators only, Dorothy's House can focus on providing survivors with safety and resources upon escape, giving them the chance to recover and move forward. Okay. Eyes Open Iowa. Eyes Open Iowa is Iowa's only agency solely focused on adolescent sexual health and has worked to create a culture in which all teens receive comprehensive, medically accurate, and age-appropriate information. IWF grants funds will support the Working to Institutionalize Sex Education program, which aims to educate young women and give them the tools they need to set boundaries, prevent sexual assault, and engage in healthy relationships. The program will continue to partner with school districts to implement sexual health education programs and policies that are inclusive, research-based, and comply with state-mandated requirements for human growth and development educations in grades 1 through 12. Through WISE, EOI has partnered with 37% of Iowa school districts. Thank you. Remember when I said these are the organizations that do the work? This is, even just reading what they say makes me a little tired. It is incredible what these organizations are doing. Girls on the Run, Eastern Iowa. Girls on the Run uses running and other physical activities as a platform for teaching life skills and promoting holistic health outcomes for girls in grades 3 through 8. IWF grant funds will help purchase new curriculum materials that expand the impact of this mentorship program, covering topics like competence, confidence, caring, character, connection, and contribution. Through Girls on the Run, girls learn critical life skills such as how to manage emotions, help others, make intentional decisions, and resolve conflict in relationships. Each team plans and completes a community service project and celebrates with a 5K event at the end of each session. Thank you. I've seen it, and that 5K event is joyous. It is really wonderful. Iowa Jobs for America's Graduates, as we often know them as IJAG, which is in Des Moines but serves statewide. IJAG helps students who are facing multiple barriers to success by offering counseling, mentorship, tutoring, career exploration, and post-secondary planning resources that help them graduate high school and transition into their next chapter. IWF grant funds will help IJAG remove barriers to career exploration for Iowa girls by creating greater access to opportunities to explore industries and jobs that are new to them, including engagement with employer partners in specific industries. Funding will specifically expand and add depth to the trades and commercial construction pathway for women by removing transportation and financial barriers that prevent participation. This includes the rental of charter buses for female students to attend events and direct student support through gas cards, bus passes, clothing, steel-toed boots, very important, and more. So thank you very much. St. Mark Youth Enrichment out of Dyersville and Dubuque area. St. Mark provides space for kids with after-school and summer programs to fill a gap for working families and students who are struggling with reading math and social-emotional skills. IWF grants will support their program to provide after-school programs in rural communities. This program provides safe, accessible childcare and mentorship for young girls. This program will implement fun learning in literacy, STEM, and large motor activities with social emotional learning infused throughout. Kids will also learn responsibility through job assignments, regulating big emotions, and resolving conflict when it arrives, contributing to resilience and an open mind to all their future holds. Thank you. The Kids Spot, Lake City, Iowa. So this is in our central and northwest area. The Kids Spot is a nonprofit child care center in Lake City, Iowa that provides part-time, full-time, and before and after school care. They are the only DHS licensed program in their community. IWF grant funds will assist in furnishing additional classrooms to create more spaces for children or child care in Calhoun County and the surrounding areas of northwest Iowa. This investment will help address the current wait list of families needing care while also providing developmentally appropriate furnishings, materials, and curriculum for each room. Thank you. All right, finally, the Young Women's Resource Center in Des Moines. Young Women's Resource and Action is one of the only organizations in Central Iowa to offer small group programs, individual support, and mental health counseling to girls and young women aged 10 to 24. IWF grant funds will support the Young Women's Resource Center's Parenting and Life Skills program for young moms to provide education and training to young women as they build a path to their future. The program helps with essential needs for women to achieve personal goals such as high school graduation and post-secondary education. This includes a credit recovery to complete online courses, scholarships to pursue associate degrees, trade school or certification programs, and a variety of life skills that support economic self-sufficiency for young women. Going right to the next thing. Thank you. Thank you. These are our champions. These are the organizations we've deliberated over and chosen to receive funding to lead and advance our mission. And I ask that you all be their champions as well. Thank you.
From small beginnings in 1994, when 27 women asked the question, what if every woman and girl in Iowa had a fair opportunity to achieve her personal best? Champions, changemakers, leaders, and advocates were born. We are Iowa Women's Foundation. Our mission? To improve the lives of Iowa's women and girls through research, advocacy, education, collaboration, and grant making. We break down barriers that keep her from reaching her full potential. Because when women and girls are successful, we all benefit, and Iowa wins. With over $1.6 million in grants awarded to more than 300 projects in all 99 counties across the state, we track our giving. But the true impact can't be measured, because when a woman has a place to call her own, and access to childcare, a way to get around, and opportunities for her future, the ability to grow her skills, and mentors to guide her, she becomes self-sufficient, empowered, limitless, invincible. There is always work to be done, and we are positioned to lead the way. We create change that will transform futures. Together we build, engage, inspire, and uplift, so all of Iowa's women and girls can soar. We are Iowa Women's Foundation.
Everyone, please join me in giving a warm round of applause and welcome to Deanne Cook, President and CEO of the Iowa Women's Foundation.
Thank you. The impact, history, and success of IWF is difficult to summarize in a single video or event. Why? Because the reach of our work involves multiple stakeholders across hundreds of communities over nearly 3 decades. By being here today, each one of you are now part of our history. Some of you have been with us since the beginning. Some of you are just learning about us and meeting us today. We are grateful to have you with us to celebrate our impact and imagine our future. As you saw in the video, IWF envisions an Iowa where all Iowa women and girls are financially stable by addressing the barriers that limit their forward progress. IWF has become a leading voice for women by using research to inform our investments, putting grant dollars where they will have the most impact. But we can't address big challenges through funding alone. We also create advocates and champions who understand those issues, build coalitions to identify solutions, and empower local communities to act. This work is not easy, as Jen said. It continues to evolve as the challenges change. IWF has proven to be a trusted convener and powerful force to building pathways for women to succeed. Quite frankly, the impact is not just on women. When we are successful, all of Iowa benefits. Increasing the number of women who are financially stable means lower poverty rates, more investment in children, and higher rates of health and well-being, among many benefits. Stronger women really do create stronger communities. The heart of what we do is invest in organizations that provide barrier-shattering programming to women and girls. We were so thrilled to introduce you to our 2024 grant partners and let you know more about their tremendous work. We also know we need to continue to grow and accelerate our work to impact more women and lead the way in tackling these challenges. To do that, we need the partnership of those who believe in our mission. We hope you leave here today inspired by the way that we do our work and thinking about how you can join our efforts to improve the lives of Iowa women and girls. How can you help us soar? We welcome your investment. We welcome your advocacy for our work by learning more about the economic barriers we help break down or sharing our work among your networks. We welcome your time and expertise by joining the ranks of IWF's many volunteers. Dismantling barriers takes an entire community, and we need each of you to help us reach our goals. As you heard from Jen, we had the tremendous news last week that one of our leading funders has decided to significantly increase their investment in our work in the coming year. They made that choice because they want to be a spark for additional growth in our ability to move the needle for Iowa women and girls. But there's more. They have also offered us a challenge grant to encourage investment from others who want to join them as a partner in the future of IWF. We launched that campaign here today with all of you. Financial gifts to IWF support not only our grant making, but also our capacity to amplify our grants through research, advocacy, collaboration, and education. We've been given a strong endorsement, and this challenge grant gives us the opportunity to maximize the gifts of individual donors. I wouldn't be a very good CEO if I didn't point out that on each one of your tables, there are forms for you to consider if you might be able to financially support IWF in a way that works for you. Monthly, annually, one-time gift. Position to lead means looking into the distance and constantly adapting to become what's needed to meet the next challenge. Stakeholders of Iowa Women's Foundation have supported nearly 30 years of impact in Iowa by continuing to be partners in this growth and innovation. This is lifelong work. Leaders never sit down and say, that's it, we've done it. They continue to tackle tougher challenges, stretch to make bigger impact, and grow the legacy they leave behind. IWF will always be the kind of leader that asks, what's next? What more can we do for Iowa's women and girls? The answer lies in part with those willing to offer their time, talent, and treasure to keep Iowa Women's Foundation in a position to lead. As we considered who exemplifies the kind of leader we want IWF to be, our thoughts naturally turned to Ambassador Mary Kramer. And thanks to partnership from Grinnell Mutual, we have her here with us today. I was strictly forbidden from reading her bio. And if she lays down the law, you listen. Those of you who know her think of her as the first woman to serve as president of the Iowa Senate or as the U.S. ambassador to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean. She didn't start out with those goals. She didn't even imagine those things for her future. Instead, she built a career and a legacy by saying yes, one opportunity at a time. It has been my pleasure to get to know Mary and her story over the last few months. I have come to admire her wisdom and ability to use her journey to help others reflect on how they can make an impact from any seat in the room. Please join me in welcoming Ambassador Mary Kramer.
Thank you, dear. That was lovely.
I didn't read the bio.
Yeah. Thank you for that lovely introduction. She follows directions beautifully. I asked her, do not read all that. I have been, what do I want to say? In the career business for now, 6 decades. Doesn't that sound a lot better than 60 years? Yeah. I think it does too. I have been blessed with a series of diverse opportunities, too many to list in an introduction. I don't think you care what board I served on in 1960, but it's all right. My father was a little worried. He thought I could not keep a job. I want to give congratulations to the Iowa Women's Foundation. You are seeking to advance women better. You collaborate with others who share your goals. That's magic right there. And so rather than reinvent programs everywhere, you're capable of collaboration. I have to say, that's a girl thing. You know, it's so easy to say that's a guy thing. This is not. This is a girl thing. So I'm grateful for every single experience, especially now. I'm staying active and engaged in this time of my life. It's my fourth quarter, where the game is won or lost. And part of the wins are opportunities for me, like speaking to you today. Over the times that I have had a chance to learn about education, about leadership, about business, about government, about politics, about civility. My dad was right. I couldn't hold a job. I have 3 goals for our time together today, so let's get started. First, provide some context for how my ideas and opinions have been formed over decades. I hope by providing a little detail about my various lives, I give some insight into the value of leadership and the value of risk-taking. Second, I'm passionate about women's leadership. We have skills that work, especially in today's workplace. We can lead, no matter what our position. And finally, I'm ambitious enough to believe there are some tools that are proven useful both to individuals and groups where we are engaged, in other words, everywhere. I refer to my various experiences as my lives, and in retrospect, what I've learned. My first life was as a piano player, right here in Iowa City. Yes, I learned to play the piano, but so much more. For instance, the value of practice. Practice does not make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. I came to Iowa City as a sophomore in high school, and I was blessed with people who gave me opportunity. For instance, my vocal music teacher at Iowa City High School suggested I audition at the university with a piano professor. Okay, so without too much thought, I went to the audition. He accepted me. We never had a loving relationship, but he did teach me to play the piano, and I played by ear. It's so much easier. He insisted I play by notes. I don't know. But he also put me in a seminar. Most of the other students were graduate students and required me to play before the group once a month and accept critique. So here's my lesson. Do not cry until you leave the room. But I also learned as a piano player, there is nothing like applause. Nothing like it. It's addictive. I began playing My Country 'Tis of Thee for the PTA in the 2nd grade, and I got applause. Whoa, empowering. What it taught me, give praise often. Give praise often. There's research that shows if 80% of your communication is not positive, the 20% that should be constructive will not be heard. Think about that. As a parent, as a coach, as a supervisor, whatever, 80% must be positive. I learned the larger the risk, the larger the reward, and conversely, the larger opportunity to fail. So, when presented with an opportunity, or when you want to create an opportunity, ask yourself 4 questions. First, do I really want to do this? This is about me. It's about you individually. Do I really want to do this? Second, can I do it without risking my integrity? That was a big question when I was asked to run for office. But the asker was former Governor Robert Ray. So I thought, if he can do it, so can I. Third question, what's the worst that can happen? If the answer is I might screw it up, that's not a good enough answer not to do it. And the last is, what's the best that can happen? What's the magic that might occur if I decide to do this? All right, so here comes a big risk. I was encouraged to run for public office, and I chose to do it. The risks are huge and many. I learned to win or lose in the full view of the public. My worst fear was that I would hear myself on the radio when I was waking up in the morning, or reading myself in the newspaper. Sometimes I must say I had to think, were they in the same room I was? But I had to thicken my skin to live with vulnerability, to remember it's about service to the constituents, both those who voted for me and those who didn't. Let me tell you, scary business. But even more scary, I was invited to become a U.S. ambassador. I did not know what a U.S. ambassador did. And so I was on vacation, got off the airplane, and my phone went crazy. But it was my office. I think I said to my husband, I don't want to talk to them. So we just got in the car and moved on to the resort. But when I got to the resort, the lovely young woman behind the desk said, Senator Kramer, you need to call your office immediately. So, of course, you know, here's another girl thing, guilt takes over. So I called the office, and she said, you have to call the White House. I said, come on, it's just 5 o'clock on the East Coast, 7 o'clock, and you know, I'm not going to do that. She said, they're waiting. Okay. So not to sound arrogant, but I mean, the White House called us to be the advanced thing of every, not respectful, Tom, Dick, and Harry that wanted to come to Iowa. And believe me, there's a lot of people that want to come to Iowa. So, okay, I called the White House, and she says, good evening, White House personnel. Whoa, that's a new one. And so the president would like to know if you would serve as the U.S. ambassador to Barbados. I sat. My husband said, are you sick? I said, well, I don't know. The verdict is still out. So I said, yes, we'll consider it. Hung up and said, here's the deal. And then he sat down and said, what does an ambassador do? I said, I don't know. And the bigger question for me was, where is Barbados? Honestly, didn't know. So we decided to go to Barnes & Noble on Hilton Head Island, get a coffee, and read about where Barbados is. And after we read for about 20 or 30 minutes, we looked at each other and said, this might not be bad. So this is Friday night, and I have till Monday afternoon to call them back. And so honestly, we went and played golf and did what we usually do on Hilton Head Island. And now it's Monday. So I got to make this call. So I call her back, and I say, honestly, I have no idea what an ambassador does. Remember that third question? What's the worst that can happen? I think you do ambassador work in public. And So she said, would you hold a minute? So I'm, okay. The music is playing. Pretty soon I get, Mary, I hear you have a question. And I'm like, oh my God, it's the President of the United States. Anyway, as someone later told me, and I learned right then, when the president asks you to do something, the answer is, yes, sir, I can do that. And so we started that journey. Serving as an ambassador allowed me, inspired me, to use every learning from all of my previous experiences. The stress was probably the most I've ever experienced, even though I've been in some other stressful positions. But if whatever was going on was requiring my leadership and I didn't get it done, it wasn't going to get done. And I work for the President of the United States. That's a big load. I'm so proud to have had that experience. Talk about being able to make a difference. I'll give you one brief example. The island of Dominica is the one that they say Christopher Columbus would still recognize it because it hasn't changed that much. And so, of course, they had a bank, and they had a new prime minister who was had been a scholar at the University of Mississippi in the United States of America. When I was first introduced to him, he stood up and came and gave me a big hug and said, "God bless America." And I like, oh boy, we're going to be able to work together. But I have, this staff beside me that's like, you don't hug the ambassador. And I'm like, oh, yes, you do. And so what an opportunity to make a difference. The bank in Dominica, probably 70,000 people on that island. If 5 of them make $20,000 US, I'm shocked. But there's $70 million in their bank. What's wrong with that picture? Where did that come from and where is it going? So I had the IRS Fraud and Abuse Unit on my team at the embassy. They said to me, he doesn't know what's going on because his people don't want him to know. They're benefiting greatly by having the capacity to pass through that laundered money. And so I caught him at a cocktail party at my residence and said to him, do you know what's going on? I don't want you to bring your government down, but if the international task force goes for you, they will close your bank, and that will bring your government down. He is shocked. So I suggested to him he stay overnight in Barbados and meet with the financial task force people and learn what's going on. So they said, okay. And he was great. He said, I'll help. And they said, we'll send people in by Thursday night to help redirect this money. Well, by Friday, there was less than $7 million in that bank. Huh. That's how money laundering works. And that's the kind of stuff that I felt happened and made a difference. So, leadership. My early years as a piano prodigy taught me to love applause. I was pretty much a little ham, but what a confidence builder. The early lesson, even though in the 7th grade, I could kick the ball further and more accurately than any boy in my class, but they still wouldn't let me play. So I became the definition of a difficult child. I really, that might have been my best job ever. I really did it, yeah. But who came to my rescue? Phyllis McAdam, a tough, perfectionist music teacher, single, disabled. But she expected me more of me as her accompanist than I ever thought I could do. So by golly, I was working to show her I could do that. Certainly helped the difficult child thing. All right. In 1975, I know that's ancient history for many of you in the room, it was in a two-career marriage. There's lots of times we make choices about moving. And that happened. It was time to move. Tough decision, because I left the job as an assistant superintendent of schools right here in Iowa City. I thought I was successful and that I had arrived. I didn't need to go any further. But further turned out to be Des Moines for my husband. So in a business interview, here are the questions. Two of them I was asked. The first one was, and they knew I had been an assistant superintendent. The first one was, how does your husband feel about your working? And the second was, who gets dinner at your house? Think how, yeah, okay. So my answer was, it's none of your business. I can do this job. And so, I will just never know if they were really afraid I would sue them or if they thought I could do the job. Whatever, I got hired. It feels a long way, doesn't it? From 1975 to 1996, when I was sworn in as the president of the Iowa Senate, or in 2003, being sworn in as a U.S. ambassador by then Secretary of State Colin Powell. By the way, I love Colin Powell. His questions were, do you understand the mission? Will you support your troops? Then you're on my team, sister. Don't you love that? That's a little bit different than who gets dinner at your house. So the change may seem slow, but it is happening. None of the people we engage with today, among friends, families, workplace, want to be managed. Do any of you want to be managed? Probably not. In fact, they want to be led. They're hungry for leadership. So how do we define leadership? Well, being charismatic, gorgeous, articulate, magical. These are all lovely things, but none of them are required to be a successful leader. Not one. And research has shown that there are a set of skills that when practiced faithfully, remember, perfect practice makes perfect, yes, allow you to lead powerfully in every sector of your life, no matter what your official position is. Here are the skills that have served me well. They do require practice. 1, create a vision for the desired future for yourself first, and then think about the other groups you're part of. Family, volunteers, workplace. Really? Take time to do it, please. 2, create responsible followers. Doesn't do you any good to have a mission if you can't get it done. So, be sure they understand and share your vision of the desired future. They share your vision of the desired future, and then tell them you expect results. This isn't the I give the orders and you follow them. It's not that. It's a shared vision. Number 3, listen. Listen to everybody, not just waiting your turn to talk. Actively listen. Don't interrupt. Keep eye contact. At least pretend to be interested in what the other person is saying. You're all really good listeners today. Either that or you're very good at pretending to be. Be active and ask questions, mostly clarifying. Number 4, value every team member. Everybody you interact with, you value them and value them equally as human beings. You might value them differently for what they produce, but as human beings, you trust them. They are able to do their job. You trust them to do it. You expect they're going to do it. There you go for the listening. So, vision, followers, listen. And then you connect with the outside world, which asks you to accept feedback. Good, bad, accept it non-defensively. So, now I'm going to shift from that just for a minute. I have permission from Leanne. But in the name of getting the best qualified person to serve, it has been recommended by state government that the gender balance law be repealed. I believe engaging all citizens in their government is a higher goal than seeking the best qualified. Actually, unless we change the method of selection, appointment, I don't think we'll get people who are any better qualified than the ones we're getting today. Why would we think that? So, I'm not telling you how to feel or to react, but I am asking you to take action on this issue. How? I'm not going to tell you how. Whatever networks you have, whatever groups you talk to, think about this issue and let other people know your opinion. I'm sure the data show that Iowa's boards and commissions and local governments, etc., are far more, it's not perfect, there's lots of ways to go, but they're far more balanced than other states around us, and it's because of this law. Okay, there's an action item. I'm going to close with a quote from Nelson Mandela. It says, "Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. In fact, it is that we are powerful beyond measure." So as we let our light shine, we give others permission to let their light shine as well. And we are liberated from our fears. Our presence liberates others. Thank you for listening, at least pretending. You did a great job. I'm so proud of the Iowa Women's Foundation. Attracts so many women to their cause, so many people to their cause. It removes barriers from women's path to success. Working with other organizations who seek the same goals. Well played, women. Keep moving forward, and thank you for having me today.
Everyone, once again, please welcome back to the stage Deanne Cook.
I just got to hug an ambassador. I didn't know that was a rule, that you weren't supposed to do that. So I'm glad I didn't know. Thank you so much. I saw lots of note-taking. I think that she was just everything that we hoped and dreamed as we talked about what she was going to say to you today. I think that her path of accepting new opportunities and taking risks really aligns with what IWF has done over the past 30 years. Mary talked about having a vision, setting a vision, and attracting people to come along with you. And that's exactly what we're doing here today and every day as we move IWF forward and look for our next challenges. She also asked, one of her 4 questions was, what's the best thing that can happen? I had to make a big decision, right, about a year ago to come and join this organization in this role. And I asked a lot of questions, one of which was, what's the best thing that could happen? And you're looking at it. So thank you all for being here today. That is exactly what we hoped as we started in this transition for IWF and we move into our next chapter, is to continue to have so many people interested in knowing more about our work and being with us on the journey. As we end today, I wanted to share one more inspiring act of Ambassador Kramer. As I mentioned in the earlier remarks, IWF is very excited to begin working to meet a challenge grant this year. In visiting with Mary prior to our event and explaining the significant opportunity this represents for IWF to grow the number of people investing in our work and accelerating our impact, Mary asked that her speaker fee be donated back to IWF as part of a successful launch of this effort. We invite you to join her in supporting IWF. We thank her for her wisdom and service to the state of Iowa and being a wonderful example of women's leadership in this state. So she said, give praise often. So as we end, there are a few other thanks and kudos that I want to extend as we conclude this time together. First of all, the IWF staff. I think they're hiding in the back. Jen asked them to stand. I don't know if you could see them. They're over there. Hannah Rickert, Tisha Ritter, and Sherry Penny. It is a team effort to plan a party for 400 plus people. And I thank each of them for everything they did to make today a success. De Novo Marketing. We appreciate their partnership in producing this event, and especially thank them for the outstanding video they created to highlight IWF's work. When I came in the room early this morning and the staff was setting up the tables, the hotel staff, they were running the video to test it. And one of the women was standing watching the video and she said, I feel proud to be a woman. And I'm like, great, that's what we wanted you to feel. The University of Iowa Women in Business, who provided volunteers for this event. A few of them are hiding back in the corner too. Thank you so much for helping us pull this off. Also, to Every Bloomin' Thing for the beautiful flower arrangements. Special thanks to those who have joined us virtually today. We are so thankful you made the commitment to attend even from a distance. Again, sincere thanks to all of you who played a part in the review and selection process of IWF's grantees this year. And a special thanks to the 8 organizations that we announced as next year's grantees. We look forward to our work together in the coming year, and it was an honor to recognize and share your work with this audience today. To the members of IWF's Board of Directors, Advisory Council, and committee members who give so much time and wisdom to our work, thank you. Thanks to all the corporate sponsors who contribute and continue to believe in our impact on Iowa women and girls. We're grateful for your investment and trust in IWF. And finally, thank you, past, present, and future donors, advocates, and volunteers. We go farther when we go together. All of these commitments continue to keep IWF in a strong position to lead for Iowa women and girls, and we're so grateful that you were part of our day. Thank you.